Hello everyone, welcome back to BYOD. Today I have a very special show for you. I actually booked this show by hand at the last minute. It was apparently booked before, but I then saw the film in Vancouver at the Vancouver Film Festival very recently and insisted that we do it today. It's called Advanced Style. It's a very special film made by a very special woman, first-time filmmaker, Lina Plopelite. Yes, we did it right. Pronunciation. That was going to be the hardest part of the show. And also we are joined by subject, producer, and photographer who really generated this entire fandango we're about to get into, Ari Seth Cohen.
Hello.
Welcome to
you.
BYOD. Bring your own doc, which you have brought. And we're so grateful. What a special world you bring us into. How did this all start for you, Ari? Tell me about filming eccentric elderly women.
Well, it's something I've been doing since I was really young. I was best friends with my grandmothers. I grew up in San Diego, and we used to just hang out and watch old movies, and I think I really got my sense of style, as you can tell from grandmother, culture, everything because of them and their friends, and I used to draw pictures of older ladies. And when I moved to New York in 2008, I started meeting all these incredible women on the street and photographing and interviewing them as a personal project, and then realized they had the power to change our perceptions of aging and show that you never have to stop dressing up and being creative no matter what age you are.
And that it actually may even make you feel better.
Oh, definitely.
It might be part of staying young. Yeah. Lina, how did you become involved?
So I met Ari. I was in Brooklyn, aspiring filmmaker, working in a coffee shop, and Ari walks in all his sparkles and paisley or Hawaiian. And we connected, and he said, I'm about to start this blog. I moved from Seattle. I have this big vision for New York, and I thought the idea was fabulous. And a few months later, I saw what he started doing, taking pictures of these women, and I said, can I please come and start doing little videos of them, because I love what he's doing with them. And I was like, who are these women? I want to learn their style secrets. I want to see what's in their closets, what they think about life. But we never thought it was going to be like a huge film. It was like, I'll just do little 3-minute segments. We'll throw it on YouTube, see what happens.
So
that's what happens.
The blog is called Advanced Style.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's actually them in their outfits or whatever. You approach people on the street, basically,
Yeah.
and then do you kind of tell their story also in written form?
Yeah, so initially I just started approaching anyone who seemed interesting to me on the street, who happened to be over 60, and asked if I could take their photograph and then interview them. And then what happened is we met this woman named Deborah Rappaport, who's one of the stars of the film, and she was the first woman who said, come over to my house. She said, I'll dress, I'll undress, and I'll make you a sandwich. And I was a little hesitant, but I went over to her house, and Lina had approached me about making videos of these women because she was thinking about her own age and aging and getting older, and thinking about how women approach that. So I invited Lina to meet Deborah, and so we made our first video about Deborah, and then sort of became so captivated by these women and their stories and couldn't stop filming them. But yeah.
It was Deborah thrifting, and then we did Ilona in her home. Then we
Ilona is a magical woman. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's watch you in action approaching, which is actually towards the opening of the film, and Lina very skillfully takes us into the story from Ari's perspective. It's a pretty strange thing to walk up to old ladies on the street in New York, right? But you have no
You never
problem.
know what you're going to get.
Grandma, all grandmas out there, remember that you
Beware.
can influence your grandson very profoundly to change their lives and change other lives. Let's take a look.
Excuse me? So sorry to bother you. You look so elegant, and I photograph stylish women in New York. And I was wondering if I could take a photo of you. You look amazing. You look really amazing. You're going to be one of my younger, because I usually start at 50, but you look so great. I'll give you my card.
60.
Wow, you look incredible. I have a project called Advanced Style, where I photograph women over 50 who have great style and who are active and vital. Some of them are in their hundreds, and I just came out with the book, and I just want to show people that you can be active and creative and vital no matter what age you are. You are gorgeous. That's great. And now turn your head towards me and look right at me.
I mean, is it sort of like standing outside a grocery store asking for donations? Do you ever get rejected or sort of people run away from you or hobble away from you?
Well, not hobble. I have to chase 80-year-olds down Madison Avenue wearing high heels. So it's definitely not hobbling, but surprisingly, many of the women have been very open with the project. And I think that a lot of these women haven't had the chance to tell their stories for so long. And in America especially, we tend to push older people aside and treat them as invisible. So I think the fact that I'm approaching them and giving them this moment to really share either their style or their stories, they've been very receptive to that. There's only a few times I've been yelled at, never been hit by anyone.
With a bag?
No handbag.
No handbag.
But you do it so nicely, I think, and so respectfully. You're not just some blogger snapping it off.
Well, it's like genuinely what I like to do, and I think they sense that. Even if I didn't have the blog, I've always been friends with older people, and yeah, it's just a passion of mine. So
did the blog take off right away? And then I noticed in the narrative of the film that you also came out with a book.
Yeah.
It seems like that really launched some of these women and is changing the face of advertising. I mean, in terms of realizing that there is a demographic in older women.
Yeah, initially I didn't know what the reaction would be, but I knew that people would think that these women were inspiring. And so a month after starting the project, I think the New York Times did a little piece on it, and I think that really catapulted it. And then the book, and then people started asking me to cast older women in campaigns and shoot campaigns for them. So inadvertently, I created this strange dream career of being an old lady fashion photographer, something that I would have always loved to do, but I didn't think was possible. And Lena was there the whole time, kind of filming the whole journey of the blog and the women, and as they got more well known.
That is really that is the power of today, isn't it, with the internet?
Definitely.
And I mean, you just decided this is something you want to do, and you literally carved your own niche, right? And then Lena comes along, and now it's coming to a whole new level.
Lena had a lot to do with that, of course, bringing it to this new level. And the videos, we started making these videos together and putting them on YouTube. And we started hearing from young women who said, I'm no longer afraid of getting older. I can't wait to get older and hang out with these ladies and be like them. And so that was, once we heard that people were really responding to these women's stories, we knew we had to do something bigger with it.
Yeah. It's a great, I mean, I sat in a theater, folks, of hundreds of people in Vancouver. An entire night was built around this film. And the spirit in that room, the response that Lena got after the screening, the spirit in the room, the laughter in the room, everybody was with this film. I can't recommend it more highly to you. It's really a transformative world to step into. And this next person that I want to show you is, well, sorry to all the other ladies, my favorite in the movie. And she's just really an inspiration. She's also the oldest woman in the movie. She's 94 now, Ilona?
The oldest living woman.
The oldest living woman. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the oldest woman in the film.
She's not the old, right.
No,
There is another woman in the movie who passed.
In a very special way.
But in a great way.
In the best
But
way
we're not going to give that away because we don't give away everything on this show, just most things. All right, let's go to the clip of Ilona.
Speaking of fashion, now anything goes. When I grew up, we had certain styles, and certain things were elegant, and certain things were tacky, However, now I look around, I sometimes stand on a street, and I see people pass by with the most incongruous things which, I wouldn't dream to put together. But I feel, at this stage, if they have fun and they think it's gorgeous, it's their joy. It's their own thing. There was a fellow from France who used to make eyelashes, and I bought them. And then he died. And I said, oh, what am I going to do? They're falling out here. And so I decided, in order to have it right, I took my own hair and I cut it, and I made my own eyelashes. I would call myself now an artist. At one time, I had no self-confidence, and I didn't think I could do anything. But seeing so much art around and seeing what I can do and what I've learned and represent, I am an artist and I'm a teacher.
So something that's very extraordinary about Ilona also is that she seems to have come into her own a matter of 10, 20 years ago. So for all of us who are watching, and this is a woman who's 94 years old, that gives us a lot of hope. If we haven't found ourselves by 40, by 50,
You still have 40 years.
forget about it. Like, yeah, we've got like till 70 before we can become artists. What was she doing before that?
Being an artist, but being very insecure. Really, she was raised by very stern parents in Europe, and she never thought she was good enough. She was always, being crunched by what everybody else thinks, and just wasn't embracing life. And something switched in the 80s. She said when she started teaching, she realized she does have a gift. It is enough, and there she is, and now she's floating.
But if you talk to her friends, they'll say she was always this colorful, vibrant person. And I think that's what she showed to the world. And then at 80, she realized that it wasn't the surface and that she really had something inside of her that people really responded to. And she just let go of all those insecurities. I mean, she was doing the splits and at 80 years old and dancing and having fun.
And then started a cabaret career.
Yeah, she started a cabaret career at 90.
I mean, this is something that I think is also an extraordinary lesson. And this, a great film has great characters, but also a lot of like little lessons that you can get out of it. One being that we don't have to find our inspiration at 20 years old.
Oh yeah.
But another one is that when you think of the fashion world, and one of my favorite cuts in the film is to the runway, you think of people that look exactly the same, who look almost like tall, skinny adolescent men, but they're women, right? They're all identical. They're desexualized, strangely and oddly enough. I never understood that aspect of selling clothing. And they're wearing basically the same outfit that everybody's supposed to now follow and go and spend a lot of money on. Your subjects are defining fashion completely the opposite of that.
Individuality.
Exactly.
And they're doing exactly what they want to do in their lives. They're wearing exactly what they want to wear, and they really don't care what other people think. I mean, they're bold, and I think they feel like they're at a point in their lives where they really have this sense of freedom to do as they please, and that really shows up in the way they dress. But they've also been dressing in a pretty similar fashion throughout their lives.
But it's surprising to me that Ilona would be insecure, given that she's always led the way fashion-wise. And I mean, somebody who puts on eyelashes that are that long, that are constructed from her hair, and then a blue or turquoise line just to make sure you see them. Yeah. It's surprising to me that she would be,
insecure
at all insecure. Yeah.
I think it's that. Who am I? Am I an artist? What am I leaving into the world? Like, am I good enough? Is this it? I think she had all these worries about her. What other people think? Do you like this? You sure? Like when Ayn Rand approached her, can you do my portrait? She's like, oh no, I can't. Because it's such a celebrity, she couldn't dare to even think she can. But then her lovely friend Karen was like, come on, do it.
You're doing it. Yeah, but how did Ayn Rand know about her?
She painted many celebrities. She painted Tennessee Williams. She painted the Kennedy children, Bobby Short. She was a traveling artist for years and years and years. Like 40 years she traveled all throughout the South, having art shows, and then she started teaching art and had a little TV show in the South and a book. So she's always done art. It's really her performance and her teaching and skills grew as time went on, and then she became more confident. But I think that it's something inside of her. Like Lina said, because of her family, they kind of put all this pressure on her, and then eventually she realized it's only yourself that you can please.
Mm-hmm. And she's a Zen Buddhist without being a Buddhist. She is now just loving every little bird and leaf and the sunshine light. She just loves it all. And when you're with her, you're like elevated.
Now you're a first-time filmmaker. I mean, you really had never made a film, and how did this experience change you?
Oh God!
I mean, you sum it up in 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
I want a haiku.
As a filmmaker, as a woman, as someone who observes the world, they just taught me so much, and making a movie was like the steepest curve of my life. It
is like giving birth.
It is like for 4 years.
It's worse. Yeah. I did both once in 1 week. I finished Dig and gave birth in the same week. So I could tell you from direct contrast that the movie was way harder.
Because it lasts and lasts.
Because it lasts longer. Yeah, it's endless, and you really never know. Yeah. Whereas the baby just shows up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's healthy. Okay, good.
And it's good. Yeah.
But yeah, tell me about as a filmmaker, what was the greatest challenge in putting this together?
There were a few. One was to let them open up, to really get intimate with them, because they're performers. They're like that every time the camera rolls. And you're like,
Getting past the facade.
learning that
Underneath
I
it.
need to be vulnerable, and then they're vulnerable back. And it was really beautiful intimacy that we've created. And we've started with about 10 or 14 women, and these with whom this intimacy was created, and they shared their stories and led me into their homes without makeup, some of them. Those became the true stars of the film, the 7. So it was really important to learn for me, like this is it. That's how you get to the human. And I think I had to be genuine, and I think they recognized myself as part of their gang, so it was,
And
wasn't
even
really
though they're not
outsider.
like famous people per se, the perception, the surface is something that they play with a lot.
Yes, absolutely.
So they really are it really is like the challenge that we come up against, a lot of us filmmakers when we're filming famous people, is how do you get them to be,
Get down.
vulnerable.
Yeah, they have a certain
and that
image.
tip of becoming vulnerable yourself, so admitting that you don't know.
Yeah.
That you're new to this, that you're scared.
Or telling there's my life stories of,
Being an open book.
Right.
Yeah.
What's my relationship status? If I want to know what's their relationships, that's my relationships. And then eventually the camera just gets forgotten.
Didn't you have one of them recommend a divorce lawyer or something?
Yeah, low enough. In real life, when I was going through divorce process, was like, here, I have one. I went through one in 70s. Let's see
Hopefully
if
they're
she's still
still
on.
alive.
She was a bad experience.
And we weren't
Yeah.
quite sure we were even making full length. So it's like communicating to these women over the 4 years what we're doing, and you're coming over, and and Lina creating that trust with them, and and obviously there's healthy things and telling each one's story balanced. There's just so much.
Editing process was interesting because you have to have 7 stories. You have to tell them fully, and how do we intertwine them? So really, it was being in the right moment, in the right time, when the book came out and they started meeting one another and started going to the fashion campaigns to Los Angeles. They became this family, this kind of
Yeah, a family that's has a little bit of a competitive edge.
That's a family.
It's the divas in the room.
Diva family.
Yeah, and Ari, you had to do a little bit of navigating of that.
I've learned to let
you
go.
corralled, right? Didn't you?
Yeah, there was
the next woman we're about to see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're about to meet Lynn. Lynn's an amazing character. She, first of all, where she wins us, and that's another thing you had to do for all of them, is win our hearts, right? You had to let each one of them win our hearts, and that's very important as a filmmaker, to make a bridge for the audience to have some compassion and some understanding and empathy for the character. With Lynn, she's harder than most, and right now we're going to see her in her store. It's like an off-Broadway, or it's called off-Broadway, a fashion store. She's amazing. I don't like her hat, but sorry, Lynn. I don't like her star hat here.
She has better hats.
She's going to join the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, the
with this hat.
cowboy thing, rhinestone look.
Yeah.
There's many more.
She's so funny though. But where you fall in love with her really, we're not going to show you, but it's with her husband. Falling in love, just the love that she has for her husband, who really can't do much anymore. And dealing with, and really the relationships, the way that you handled the romantic lives of these women. It's very sensitively and artfully done as well.
We have
but
a
it
whole
saves Lynn.
sex talk on DVD extras.
Perfect.
Actual sex talk.
Can we get that on iTunes too?
I don't know.
Why don't we?
Okay, these guys don't know yet because it's all very new to them. But advancedstylethemovie.com should give you all the answers that you need. And for now, let's meet Lynn and see Lynn and her cohort in the store. Some of the best scenes. It was a rainy day, as I happen to know the inside scoop on this. It was a rainy day. There were very few customers, and Lena was wondering what the heck she was doing there until it just kind of took off. Right?
And reality TV began.
Then the reality TV began.
You always wear a cowboy hat on a rainy day.
Let's cut to it. Cut!
There's a lady here who said her life was changed.
I told her. She's
Who
in the
is
back.
that?
She's from Alaska.
She's in the back and she's from Alaska.
That website absolutely changed my life.
Tell me the whole story.
I came across the blog in January
Right?
and was so impressed because you ladies were advanced age, advanced style. And it completely turned my idea of aging around.
Isn't that wonderful? God, that's really what we want to do. That's what it's all about, and that's what Ari wants to do.
And I seemed younger, more creative. For the first time, I felt that in my life, I felt I had some creativity. I look in my closet and it comes out with all different things.
That's it, that you never thought you'd
That
wear
I
a turquoise with a
never
turquoise.
thought about.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Never had thought about.
That's so wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Been doing the same thing I've been doing since I'm 5 years old, and to be acknowledged for it is really kind of fun at this point. And everyone else in the ad is like 25 or under. So I'm very flattered that they would choose me. You know, at 66, that they're letting me put on youthful clothes and letting me do whatever I want to do style-wise.
What was the whole idea with the campaign? Kind of do whatever you want, style your
Well, the title of the campaign is Money Can't Buy Style. So there we are, in living color.
That's really cool.
Yeah, she's
Look, let me give you something. Hold it.
Oh, you're so kind. You know, I'm really very young. I feel the same as I did when I was 18, but I have fewer cares now, and I'm willing to do anything at this point.
So there, I mean, there's the evidence right there, watching Deborah become a billboard, like be on a billboard.
Yeah.
But that came out of what? The book? Or
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Once the blog started to take off, casting directors would approach me wanting these women in different campaigns. And so it was a combination of the book, the blog, putting YouTube videos out, and a casting director said they were casting for Kmart and they wanted real people who had a unique sense of style. And so I suggested Deborah, and you know, she's having a blast with all of this.
yeah, and really actually, do they feel like they're part of some kind of revolution, like more than just, oh, we're going to show up to the fashion week or whatever? Do they feel like they're part of a movement or like leading a movement at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think fashion is only one aspect of their lives, and so they feel very passionate about being, you know, active and vital and creative people at their age. And so they have communities of friends who are older and younger, and get-togethers where they talk about things about getting older and how you should live your lives. And so I think it is important for them to do these things and show that just because you're 80 years old, you don't have to, you know, sit in a rocking chair and die.
But they're totally riding the fame wave. Oh my God, they are.
Are they loving it?
Oh, hell yeah. Like, we
Well, they're all
had screenings in
creatives.
New York. They show up to every single one of them. They're like, they love each other's outfits. For them, it's just like this whole big thing.
Yeah, Lynn wanted to be a Hollywood star her whole life. Deborah's been an artist her whole life, and you know, never was really in that spotlight, but had fame and traveled around Europe with her art. Ilona's been painting her whole life. Jackie was a dancer. Joyce wanted to be an opera star and then worked in magazines. So the fact that now at this point in their life they're having this incredible opportunity to, you know, be in campaigns and still share what they have to offer, I think is really meaningful to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do your parents and think of this, and what does your grandma think?
My grandma passed away before I started the blog, and so we were just driving up from San Diego to be here, and my mother and her best friend were both saying, wouldn't Leona, who was my mom's best friend's mom, and Bluma just loved that. That was my grandmother, and they were just talking about how my grandma and her best friend would have loved to be here. I mean, I think they'd be thrilled and be happy for me and Lena and love the project. But
Do you see any end to this for you, or is this just taking off? I mean, it's.
I will work with older people in some capacity, whether it's a nursing home or taking photos. So for me, when I was 7 years old, I thought I would be an entertainment director for a nursing home. So this is just an extension of that.
It is
Why
entertainment.
is that? Why? What is it that? I mean, they are treasure troves, aren't they? And that's what I love about the film. Is it really kind of pulls the veil back on that, and it says, you know, the next time it changes your perception. So maybe the next time you walk down the street, you actually look at those people and you go, wow, I wonder what
That's what's
story they
happening.
have, right? Is that what's happening?
That's what's happening. Like, we hear from our friends, oh, I saw this woman on the corner and I never looked at older people before, but now I'm looking and I made an older friend, and people tell me, like, so that's the movement. The movement is that people are starting themselves to look at older people differently. And it's not like, oh, I want to dress differently, but I want to live my life in a way where I know that there's no end to the possibilities. Like Ilona, for instance, now starting cabaret, and now she's in a film and she's doing her cabaret all over the world. She's 94 and she's not sitting there thinking like, there's nothing else for me to do. She's looking at every day as a new possibility.
But also in the screenings, women who are in their late 40s and 50s are looking up to these women of like, oh, I thought I'm kind of slowly fading away. Hang on a minute. Like, my next decade's going to be even better. So I had these incredible turquoise earrings. I must wear them. Like, people after the screenings tell us all the time how they're going to play in their closets, which to me is the most fun.
I think it's really important also in this day and age when we are living longer lives. And I think about a film we covered on this show called Alive Inside, you know, which you may know about, and the importance of not shelving the elderly away. You know, that film, as much as it is about the power of music to overcome the effects of aging and dementia and all of that, which music can transform one's life.
Definitely.
It's also just about the 15,000 nursing homes we have that have 600 people in them each who are retreating into themselves, and it feels like solitary confinement when you watch it, and you realize, oh my gosh, you know, we give so much love to babies, right, who are as helpless as the elderly in many ways, because they're so cute, you know, and then nobody wants to deal with the elderly, and yet that's what we all will become if we're lucky. And these people who are in solitary confinement, their only crime is getting old. So
yeah, there's actually a moment in the film where we film Ilona and her best friend Karen on the beach, and Karen had dementia and was sort of fading. And for me, I saw her on the beach, which she had friends and family around her. And if she was in a different environment, obviously there's amazing nursing facilities and amazing old age homes.
And great people behind her.
But the fact that she was allowed to stay in her home and be on the beach, it totally gave me a new perspective on the way that a person who can't care for themselves, if they're able to stay in their environment, it's pretty incredible. And she was happy and joyful.
Yeah, and she could barely recognize people, but she was so surrounded by love. It was incredible just to watch it. Heartbreaking.
Yeah, it almost doesn't matter who it is who's talking to you, just as long as it's a good vibe coming your way.
Exactly.
I was my grandmother's caretaker and my mom, and when she got sick, we took care of her at home, and it was a challenge and it was very hard, but it made the end of her life very special.
Yeah, I think it's actually something that we suffer from as a society. We all suffer from not spending time with the other generations. There's another movie we covered on this show called Take Me to the River about Memphis. And one of the musicians in it says there's not a generation gap, there's a communication gap.
Oh, that's great.
We're all deprived.
I think it's death. We're scared of death. We don't want to see those who are having death nearby.
Yeah.
Ooh, so we're just going to hide them
But you
away.
made a movie that feels good to watch as much as it contains sadness, you know, and sad moments like the passing of, we have her, and we have her in African garb.
Zelda.
We have Zelda in African wear. It's a red outfit. I don't know if we can pull it up. But was the movie dedicated to Zelda? That's not her either.
But that's
These people are alive.
but that's
We hope.
She has passed away. Yeah, she has passed away. And
yeah, we dedicated a film to her and to Karen, Ilona's best friend on the beach, who passed away in the editing process as well.
yeah, it must have been tough on you guys as well. But
Also, it's reality. And this is the film about aging.
not reality TV. Reality.
Reality, actual reality.
Yeah.
And it's a movie about aging.
Yeah.
So we had to touch upon death, otherwise it would not be a point to it.
Yeah, this whole blog, this whole movement is extremely important. Let's look at one more clip from the film, because we can, because we're on BYOD, where we kind of look at the importance of advanced style.
The average woman is so beaten down and indoctrinated and besieged. Everywhere she looks, there are pictures of sweet young things, 12 and a half, wearing these gorgeous clothes and all this makeup and everything else. Now, how can you possibly look like that?
In magazines, it's only the young women who are, looking great and whatever, and they don't show older women, which is why Ari's blog is so fantastic, is because they do. They show the older people who dress, and there are, definitely so many of us who do.
The whole idea of shifting the view onto these women who are older is quite anarchic and provocative and very much against the prevailing fashion system. So if you're looking for a punk rock anarchy, look at advanced style.
I think that advanced style ladies are inspiring and have a lot of wisdom. I see my future in them.
In the beginning, it started out as something for me. It was a personal project and a way to connect with my grandmother again. I didn't know what would happen with the blog. I didn't know what people would think about my photographs. I never had any idea that these women would end up in fashion campaigns. All I knew is that these were incredible people and I had to share them with the world.
Just fantastic work, you guys. Really just incredible. Lena, amazing. Ari, how much were you involved in the editorial process of this? It must be hard when you're actually in front of the camera.
Yes, we had.
Yeah, that's why
we had some
kicked him out
tea meetings and phone calls.
I heard you had a couple fights. It's always good to have a little bit of healthy fighting.
It's hard because that's part of the process. Is there's stuff that she wants, there's things that I want, and learning how to balance. And we just traveled to South Africa together to show the film there, and in Australia, and it was a really great time for us because we really got to talk about the process. Because when you're making a film together and you're part of the project, and for me, this is my life. There's a lot that comes up, and this is Lena's first huge film, and there's emotional things that are happening. And so it was a really cathartic, wonderful trip where we heard love from so many people about the film, and really, I feel like we're stronger than ever in this process.
I mean, we as artists, we make films to affect people, to have impact, right? To change and open people's minds.
Yeah.
And that's what you've done.
So long,
I mean, mission
yeah.
accomplished. What do you mean so long? How long is long?
2 months, 2 years
2
of
months.
editing. 2 months. 2 years of editing. I think it's a heck of a long
2 years
time.
of editing is a long time, but were you shooting simultaneously?
No, just pickup shots. So we were
2
shooting.
2 years of editing. Wow.
Well, we were
Yeah.
also making this movie. Lena had a full-time. She was working, and I was working.
But I felt so strongly about the message, the way they affect me. I wanted that message so strongly to be out there for you to watch for 72 minutes to get that. So I was like, I was losing my brain.
Oh yeah, no, it's a
it's
wild
like birthing.
ride. It's almost like being bipolar editing. If you have a good day, you're bound to have a bad day right afterwards. So I've got the idea, I got it. And then the next day you show it to somebody and they're like, what are you?
There's a lot of those.
Yeah, because you lose your perspective.
And then I can't look at it for a month and I come back, I'm like, okay, phew, I know what's wrong with
Well,
this.
you succeeded. At the end of the day.
And she did it on her own,
Did you edit on your own?
Hell no.
No. I mean, the film, it was like, we had a very small team. Lena filmed it, did the sound, handed me over, microphones and things, and then edited a lot of it.
I did the rough and then worked with an editor in Nashville, Tennessee.
And you crowdfunded it?
And we crowdfunded it, Kickstarter. Yeah,
right.
Which is crazy.
Entire budget?
Entire budget to cover the editing with the dude in Nashville for a few months. Dude, I'm saying dude because I thought it's going to be all-girl movie. But the fact that I took out the editing from New York, from all the bling of New York to Nashville and handed it to a man who was like, Chanel, whatever, I don't care. Look at what she's talking about. This is crazy. This is New York. I think he made it more New York than I would have done. Michael Carter.
Michael Carter. We're all going to Nashville now. Everybody, go to the theater, watch it on the big screen. I was so glad that I did. I rarely get a chance to watch the docs on the big screen. And my son, actually, who's 10 years old, cried after the movie, wanted to call his grandparents right away.
Aww.
So bring your family. It's a great film. It opens in Los Angeles this Friday at the Laemmle Music Hall. It's playing in New York right now. It's playing in Portland, Chicago, wherever. You have no excuse, really. And then it's also on iTunes if you want to be lazy about it. but it is nice to sit in a theater full of people, and you should dress for it. Dress up.
Have fun.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Ari can show you. He got that on eBay. Yeah. So there you go. So order now and do next day shipping.
Yes.
Yeah, for your advanced style screening. Congratulations to both of you. I'm going to leave off with the trailer to further incentivize you. Again, the site is advancedstylethemovie.com. Congratulations and love to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for making a great film. Bye, everybody. See you next week.
Bye.
I am dressed up for the theater of my life every day. I get such a kick out of it.
I take it to the nth degree. Most people don't. At one time, I had no self-confidence and I didn't think I could do anything. I came into my own about 10 years ago.
So there we are. I feel the same as I did when I was 18, but I have fewer cares.
I never wanted to look young. I wanted to look great.
I think good style improves the environment for everybody.
I don't find it very challenging to go to the fancy stores and just buy the latest trend.
When I was 18, I wanted to go to Paris, so you could turn it around and put the 8 in front and the 1 in behind.
There is no time limit to anything. When you look good, you look good.
Yes, I've been living inside of you, but I guess it's time I set me free, and there's nothing that you can do. I hope you can see.
I can't seem to keep people around me, cause I'm scared that they might know the truth all about me. Then they might doubt me, there's no other route. I wanted to shout, but it's too late now cause I'm drowning. Got two-faced like I'm a clown, man. Life is too great, no, it's astounding. I'm in good shape, ma, but you know that I'm drowning like a cup in a cage. I can't cope with this hopelessness, though I try to be open and go with it. But I'm soaking in the pain like the wind never stop flowing in. As I'm floating in a glowing river through a golden gate, trying to motivate. Yeah, I do my fucking best, but there's two voices in my head, I just can't. I just fucking can't.
Yes, I've been living inside of you, but I guess it's time I set me free, and there's nothing that you can do. I hope you can see me. Yes, I've been living inside of you, but I guess it's time I set me free, and there's nothing that you can do. I hope you can see.
Babe, what you acting like this? You be fine, trust me just in time to get along. No, leave me alone. Why yes, can you see that you are alone, big? We're now sitting in our own throne, big. We need nobody, can you see it through? But it's not you who I should be listening to. Guess what, big? Nobody fucking needed you. No, and nobody fucking needed me. Yeah, they never needed us. They were the nail Jesus up. There's no fucking heaven that they don't believe in us. But they my friend, I'm the only one that you can trust. Yeah, god damn it, you an idiot. Go online, be a slave for the media. And you forgot what your father said. Are you serious? Look at yourself, big. You fucking idiots.
Yes, I've been living inside of you, but I guess this time I set me free.
Oh, I love this.
And there's nothing that you can do.
Funny guy is always I see.
I know you can see.
Can you see me? There's no one else.
Yes, I've been living inside of you.
You have to accept it.
But I guess this time I set me free. And there's nothing way that you can do. I know you can